Hello and welcome to LUTV on Fox, the television program written and produced by students in the Communication Department at Lamar University.
I'm Kyra Ellis.
And I'm Bruce Wright. Today we feature 4 short documentaries from broadcast journalism students.
First, we look at a group of Beaumont area mothers who assert their right to breastfeed in public.
Then we step into the shoes of a Port Arthur native who walked through the football field and the prison field.
Next, we go to the city of Orange and explore an historic train depot.
Finally, the story of a single mom who is a full-time student, a full-time worker, and an award-winning athlete.
It's LUTV on Fox, and it's coming up right now. According to the National Institute of Children's Health, breastfeeding reduces a mother's risk of diabetes, breast, and ovarian cancer.
LUTV News reporter Mamie Allen and Enoma Owen speak with family experts and mothers who want to normalize breastfeeding in Southeast Texas.
When a woman is feeding her baby, she's not a sex object. She's just feeding her baby. She's being a mom. Human milk has evolved over millions of years. There is no doubt that it's the optimum nutrition for an infant. Prior to the Second World War, almost 100% of babies were breastfed. It was not a taboo. It was just considered a social norm. When it sort of came back in the 70s, people weren't used to it. It was not the social norm anymore, and so people were squeamish about watching people breastfeed.
Today's event is called the Normalize Breastfeeding Project 2016. This is the second year that we've done this. It is a group photo of moms with their breastfed babies, and it's just to promote the normalization of breastfeeding in Southeast Texas and to celebrate breastfeeding moms. There weren't very many groups or places that you could really kind of congregate to talk with other moms about, the things that you were experiencing.
Since I've been able to nurse him, my whole view on nursing in public has changed. Before, I thought, women should cover. You have to feed your child. So wherever you're at, you have to feed them. And it shouldn't be a big deal. No one should have anything to say about it because it's no different than a bottle. It's their nutrition. That's the way they're surviving. So you have to feed them. And it all goes.
I'm at a point where I'm not concerned what other people think. I think that I'm doing what I need to do, and I really haven't had a negative experience ever in my almost 2 years total of nursing in Southeast Texas. I feel very fortunate, but I also feel like I'm not looking around to see if anyone is shooting me dirty looks either. I'm just really doing my thing. With Avonlea, I was a lot more nervous, and I used a cover almost all the time, but I found that being around other nursing moms has kind of built my confidence, and so I'm not as worried about it with Andrew.
Most states have passed similar laws that you, within that state, and Texas does have that law, that you can breastfeed any place you're legally allowed to be. Now that doesn't keep people from looking at you funny, or it doesn't make it a social norm, but at least it's legal, and nobody can ask you to leave a place because you're breastfeeding your child. Desensitizing people, and so that they don't think that what they're seeing is odd, out of the ordinary. If a woman is breastfeeding her baby while she's pushing her cart around Walmart, nobody should look twice. It's a natural thing to do.
Coming up after the break, the story of a man who went from being a high school football star to a felon.
And we visit a train depot in the city of Orange.
We'll be right back. Damon West once had it all: a loving family, a promising football career, and a college education. This came to an abrupt end when he was sentenced to 65 years in state prison for burglary and organized crime.
West only served 7 years. LUTV News reporter Kiandra has this story about survival, salvation, and a second chance at life.
It was a year ago at this time that I went in and called my mom and dad from the day room phone. So I came home from work. That was home.
I was born in Port Arthur, Texas, raised in a great home. My parents, Bob and Jeannie West, they've been married since 1968. So the story I'm about to tell, I can't tell you that I came from a broken home where there were problems in the home that caused me to go off the rails like I did. Because I didn't. I mean, I've had every opportunity in life, and I came from a great family. Like I said, they've been married since 1968, still married. I have a brother named Brandon that's older than I am by 3 years, a little brother named Grayson that's younger than me by 5. So we have this great, happy family, and things seemed really great until I was 9 years old when I was molested by a female babysitter. And, they took me to counseling and everything was supposed to be taken care of with that, we thought, but things start happening in my life. I start drinking. I start drinking at 10. Then by the age of 12, I'm smoking pot, skipping school, smoking cigarettes all the time. Start having sex at a really young age. Things that a lot of kids think are cool and fun to do. But all along, these are just red flags going up. But I hide it well. My ability to play sports really well, and namely to throw a football really well, kind of kept a lot of that at bay.
Good job. Good job, guys.
I took football really serious for several reasons. One, I wanted to excel at the position of quarterback. And 2, I wanted to get a scholarship and eventually get out of Port Arthur and go somewhere and play football and get an education. So I took it so serious that I would get up in the mornings and work out before school. I'd go run. They had a field right across the street from my house. I'd go throw footballs through the tire swing all the time. I ended up going to the University of North Texas. But it all came to a crashing halt against Texas A&M in September of '96. Third play of the game, just a clean screen pass, and I got hit, driven to the turf, and I separated my shoulder. And they had to go in and remove the collarbone, the distal clavicle. And I eventually worked to get my starting job back, but that summer after that, I severed my Achilles tendon in half in an accident in the home. So that was it.
What's that? All right, you hit. You see, you feel yourself hit? Like that.
Someone called from there and said he was in the hospital and he had severed his Achilles. I knew then that he would recover physically, but I worried about the mental because he had already lost,
Yeah, that was really a blow for him. I mean, football was everything to him.
There you go, like you're chopping something down, up high.
I've invested so much stock in my identity as a student athlete, as a quarterback at the university. I'm in a fraternity at the time. So my identity is built up on a lot of things that they're kind of superficial. So I don't have any real value to my life at this point. And then when the injuries happened, man, I was just mad at God. I was furious. Like, why me? It's more of a pity party than anything else. But at that fork in the road, I chose the wrong path. And that's when I got into doing cocaine and doing other drugs.
He was trying to compensate, self-medicate, and that's when he started on a bad path.
Chasing that high, chasing that first high, which I never caught, by the way. Chasing that first high with a glass pipe, smoking meth. I got a job with one of the biggest banks in the world out of Dallas, UBS, and started training to be a stockbroker. And it was there that I got introduced to methamphetamine. And from that point on, I was instantly addicted to meth. It was unlike any other drug, and it was the addiction was terrible. The addiction brought you to the depths of hell because once you were out of the drug, you would do anything you had to get it. You'd scour the carpet for little pieces of drug you might have dropped that you thought you put in your pipe. And I'm smoking this stuff all the time, but I lose my job, I lose my home, my car, my mind, my tethering to God. It's all gone, and everything at that point is about meth. And that's where the criminal behavior comes in, because now I'm homeless and I'm living in dope houses with other dope fiends or living out of my car. And eventually I get in with these guys when I blow all my money, all my savings. I get in with these guys that are breaking into storage units. And eventually that doesn't become enough, and we take it to the next level and start breaking into houses. A few months later, the SWAT team would come and arrest me. So I'm going to trial and I get found guilty. And the trial lasts 6 days. But when the judge tells me the time that I've got, it is just like it's an echo going through my head. It's like 65, 65, 65. And you kind of feel like, Ms. Bowers, that you've been thrown away. You feel like, man, they're throwing me away. I'm gone for the rest of my life. And the worst part, you know, I talk about the victims I made with these burglaries, and I made a lot of victims with these burglaries, but the worst part, the biggest victims I made were my family. That's a whole family gone, because the family is broken apart because of what I did, man. I put my parents through hell, my family through hell.
It was devastating. You know, you prepare your life, or you prepare for different things that can happen with your children, but I don't think you can ever prepare yourself to hear what we were told that Damon had done.
At first I didn't want to believe it, and of course Damon wasn't being truthful with us at the time, and you know, he said this, you know, I didn't really do what they said I did, you know, I've done some things, but it's not this bad. You don't want to believe it at first, and then you think, wow, what didn't we do? Where did we go wrong?
First couple months in prison was really hard. I mean, there's fighting that goes on. Someone tell you when to eat, when to wake up, when you can go to the bathroom, when you can shower. There's child molesters, there's murderers, there's rapists, there's all that, and you know, there's a few guys with sentences like drug possession or burglaries like me, but it's not many. So you're over there, and all you do is spend time with these guys all the time. There's nowhere to go. So I made parole, and as a condition of parole, I'm on parole for pretty much the rest of my life. So now is more of a recovery time, a time for healing, and I just look forward every day to wherever God can use me.
Almost a century ago, a train depot in the city of downtown Orange was a critical hub for transportation in World War II.
Built in 1912, the now abandoned depot is being restored as part museum and part event center. LUTV News reporters Trevier Gonzalez and Jonathan Tippett speak to a former porter and a ticket seller about their memories of this time.
My husband and I drove over this railroad track and we saw this thing, dilapidated, falling down, nobody's taking care of it.
I had been inside for a long time, and I often wondered.
It's more to me than just the old building. It's a place where my livelihood, where I worked, and I met many people there.
It's changed so much since I was working there.
I felt it was a very important building, but it was still decaying, and I don't think the people realized how important it was. We tend to forget what happens in the past, and we tend to tear everything down.
So I grew up along this railroad track, playing, putting pennies on the rails and all of that.
Here's this building that I looked back years ago, and then I get a call from Carrie Wolliver, who's the real person in charge of all this and got it started, and she asked me one day, would you like to do this project? And of course I just hollered really loud, you just have no idea.
That was the way that people got from community to community or town to town. So it's a very, very important part of the history of this nation, and certainly Orange played a big part.
It's one of those elements that's still existing that was universal in its sense of inclusion.
I started in 1946 when I came to Orange, and I worked at selling tickets until 1975.
When you're a station porter, you help the people get the baggage out of their car. You unload the mail, and you load the baggage, and you've done everything around it. Really, that's why I know so much about that old train station, because I had to do everything except sell tickets.
At the time that I came here, the Navy base was still here. We had a lot of sailors.
You see, because the war was going on.
Soldiers coming home and bodies arriving and being removed from caskets from the rail cars.
Someone had to be escorting it all the way. And the baggage person on the train had to take care of it and transfer it to us when they'd get to the station, and we'd have a porter to help take it off.
Sometimes we bring bodies in. That's kind of the sad part of that. You know, expecting the family waiting till their loved ones come in. Every once in a while we'd have a veteran, but the majority of somebody just shipping people's body back home. Well, you unloaded that.
I just feel like that they're going to fix it up again, and then it'll change. So I try not to look at it the way it is now.
You meet people from everywhere. And the majority of the people you meet, all good people. They had separated, okay, that end of the building, that was for whites. This end of the building was so they say colored back then.
They just had a separate waiting room for each one and separate restrooms for each one. Then in about 1958, I think they changed that. And at the time then, they all blended together in one waiting room.
I just come out the Army. I had my Army jacket on, I had my little old stripes and overseas bars and everything on. So these two Marines came up to me, and for no reason at all, he hit me. But when he hit me, it drove me back into the building, you know, because it was unexpected.
And I worked close to them, and I liked them all. And I treated them just like anyone else.
I don't want my race to have nothing to do with it, or the color I am to have nothing to do with it. I'm a person.
And Mrs. Stark used to come by and buy tickets for her friends going back to California. So I just closed my office and go outside and talk to her, and she just always saying that this building should always be the gateway to Texas and must always be here.
People were concerned, could we really do it? And it wasn't until I think people began to see what the building would look like. And when the first images came out, we did a digital rendering of the building to show what it would look like as a finished product. And that began to create a stir. The building really looked like that. We could really make it look like that.
I still see some people around town here that rode the train regular. Hello, Miss Southern Pacific.
This is going to be something. This depot is going to really be nice. And I'm glad to see them doing something with it, because I used to look at it all the time.
So it's going to really attract people in to Orange, which will do nothing but better the economy for Orange.
It will be really nice to see it completed and see what the accomplishments of all the plans that they've worked for and how it's going to be. I know it's going to be nice, and I feel like it's going to carry on.
Up next, the story of a single mom who is a full-time student, has a full-time job, and is a powerlifting champion.
Stay with us. According to the Institute for Women's Policy Research, almost 5 million college students are raising children.
Lamar University student Chelsea Meyer is a single mother of 3, works a full-time job, and is a powerlifting champion. LUTV news reporter Jennifer Yakuta followed this busy mom.
Welcome to the life of Chelsea Meyer. Mama! Every 10 seconds. I was 19 whenever I had my first child. I got pregnant whenever I was 18. I had my first child when I was 19. My other two, actually, right after each other. It was my daughter. I had her when I was 19. Then my youngest daughter, my middle child, whenever I was 20. And then 3 years later, my son. A typical day for me is waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning, getting all 3 of them ready, and having to get girls ready is a hassle in itself, because you have to do the hair and the earrings and the necklaces and all the jewelry. We try to get out the door by 7:30, because they have to be to school by 8:10, and that's not on Tuesdays and Thursdays, because I have to be at school by 8. So typically they're with their dad on Tuesdays and Thursdays, those mornings. Any other day they're with me. They're at school by 8:10. Then I go to the school. I do my online class before class starts at 10:20, and then from 10:20 till 3:10, I do my other 4 classes. After I get out of class, I go to the gym until it's about 3:30 to 5:30.
She does pretty good. She's really strong. Yeah, she's a super mom. I love my mom and I like her.
I stopped lifting from 2009 until 2014. I got back into lifting whenever I heard that Lamar had a powerlifting team, and I started lifting again in the fall of 2014, and I've been lifting ever since. The exercises we do for powerlifting are squat, bench, and deadlifts. That's it. The most prized award of mine is actually the ones from championship this past couple of weeks. I got first place for 63 kilo overall. I beat all my PRs, and I got the best attempted deadlift for my 63 kilogram weight class. Before then, I'd say the Aggie Showdown meet, it seems every time I go at A&M, I always get first place. Before this previous meet, the one before that, I was actually 1 pound over, and I competed in the 72 kilo weight class, which is kind of like it's from 138 to 162, so it's like a 24, maybe more than that pound jump, and I still got first place. All my medals so far since I've been in powerlifting in college since 2014 have been first, second, and third. I think I have at least 4 first place medals, and then I have 3 second place medals, and then I have 1 third place medal. So I shoot for first every time. I typically work 4 9-hour shifts, so 36 hours, sometimes more. I'm the people department manager, so I'm over a department, and I'm also GM assistant.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Go pick up my kids at 6. If they have tumbling, bring them to tumbling. Cook dinner, eat, go to bed. On repeat.
We couldn't take care of her if we wanted to.
That's it for this special broadcast of LUTV on Fox. Look for our second mini documentary feature, also produced by Lamar broadcast students. In the meantime, go to our Facebook page, LUTV News, for more information.
For 6 weeks over the summer, we will feature 1 documentary per week and a 2-minute interview with the producer.
For more information about Lamar University and the Department of Communication, point your browser to lamar.edu. There, you can find information about Lamar events, Lamar sports, and much, much more.
Thanks for watching LUTV right here on Fox. Look out for more Lamar student productions in the fall semester.